How's it going, everybody? It's Pilot Fame, and we are back with another FPL preseason video. And today we're continuing the Team Watch series, and we're moving on to Brighton. We're going to see what attacking assets, defensive assets, and what they're doing in the transfer market, which could pique our FPL team's interest. If you haven't done so already, make sure to hit that like button, subscribe to the channel if you are new or haven't done so already. It greatly helps out the channel, as well as turn those notification bells on so that you can get the content as soon as it is readily available. Also, drop us a follow over on Twitter so you can keep up to date with any and all FPL news, and give us a follow over on Twitch so you can see when we go live for our preview and deadline streams, which will be starting back up the week of game week 1. So without further ado, let's look at Brighton's attacking assets that could be of some value for this FPL season. So Brighton are a team that we often look for very cheap players because of the way that they play football, and they usually can compete with some of the top teams. We can get them at a cut price, basically, and can get some value out of them, which is usually quite nice. If you look at the stats just above me, the team stats, you can see that they were in and around like the mid-table. They didn't have as many shots in the box as the likes of Brentford, but they had similar number of big chances, but they had a larger XG non-penalty, which means that they probably were a bit lacking up front, and that seems to be the case with Brighton, at least for the majority of the season. Mopé on there, I mean, you could see in the last 4 matches that he played, 0 big chances, 0 chances created, only 2 shots inside the box, and the bulk of the load was basically put on Danny Welbeck and Leandro Trossard, and there were large periods in the season where Danny Welbeck typically picks up injuries and then misses a few games, so they have to rely solely on Trossard. And now he can do a good job at that, but if the opposition know that, hey, look, they're just going to play it through him, then they need other avenues. So I think the likes of Undav, who we'll talk about later on in the transfer section, could be somebody who help revitalizes the attack and provides a consistency up front for goals. With their fixtures off the first 4, you can see Man United away isn't the greatest fixture. Newcastle and West Ham will be tough, but Leeds at home should be quite nice, and they have a nice run after that. I think personally, attacking wise, you're not really going to be looking at a Brighton attacker here. The only case I can say would be to go for the likes of Undav and see if he is a starter at 5.5 million. He could be of use, but we'll talk about him later. But Welbeck, Mopé, Trossard, I think there's just better budget forwards as well as better budget midfielders given the fixtures that they have. Even though Brighton have shown that to play some lovely football at times, and this is mainly due to the fact that they're very flexible in their system and very flexible in the transition, showing multiple different shapes. Graham Potter is a very intelligent manager and often changes system mid-game when things are, maybe they're going right and they just want to amp up the intensity a bit, or they want to dial it back, or if they're in some sort of trouble, they can change and be very, very flexible in that regard, which causes a lot of problems for even the top teams. I mean, we've seen Brighton give Man City, Man United, Liverpool, Chelsea all a hard time at points during the past few seasons, since they've basically been promoted under Graham Potter's tenure. Obviously, Graham Potter wasn't there when he was promoted, but has done a very good job since he's come in. So we'll have to wait and see on the attacking assets. Not really my cup of tea at the moment, but one to keep an eye on, especially for Undav, who we'll talk about a little bit more in the transfer section. But now probably what most FPL managers are looking forward to, I think the defensive assets could be something that we look at Brighton off the start. Now, if we take a look at some of the defenders here, they are at some fantastic prices. Lewis Dunk, who was 5 million last season, now comes in at a cut price 4.5 million. Tariq Lamptey maintains his price, and Cucurella stays at his price at 5 million. Cucurella could be moving on to Man City. We'll wait and see on that one. But personally, I think he could be a very good FPL asset, even if he is at Brighton. And it's probably around, kind of the same level in terms of like a Kieran Trippier or Luca Digne or a Cash in terms of potential involvement in goals. Maybe him less so, but he does look quite active when he is on the ball. And a lot of the play does go through him on his left wing back side. Tariq Lamptey, if he can get a run of games where he's just not injured, basically, he could be very valuable. And then Lewis Dunk is someone who's going to be steady. He might pick up the odd red card every now and again, but he is usually quite steady and is decent from set pieces as well. He might nick a goal or two for you and could be potentially a good rotational option if you want security of starts at that 4.5 million, because Lamptey you would probably say is not guaranteed 100% nailed on, whereas Lewis Dunk and Cucurella are, as long as they're at the club, or assuming they don't sign anyone in their positions. I can expect a lot of managers will go for Brighton defense early on. I think there are a lot of budget FPL defenders that have been priced very, very kindly, and I think that Dunk and Lamptey are among those. Me personally, though, I just don't think you necessarily have to go there. I think there's a lot of budget defenders, or I say budget, but they're at a reduced price than what I thought they were going to be. So like Reece James, as an example, I would have marked him to like 7.5 million, and he comes in at 6 million. So same with Chilwell. I just think you just load up on them. I just think they're just going to be so valuable. The only disadvantage with that is that if you do take a lot of the, greedy 6 defenders, then you don't have room for the likes of the Brighton defenders or the Arsenal defenders that are cheaper, or even like West Ham or Aston Villa or Newcastle even. And then you have to get their midfielders, which are probably significantly worse than their defensive counterparts. So like as we saw in the attacking options, Trossard at 6.5 million, but you could potentially go for Martinelli at 6 million. Maybe Neto if Wolves find form at 5.5. Rashford at 6.5 million if United are just anything but terrible. He could be quite good as well. So I think for me, I'm going to go more of the kind of wing-back attacking fullback style of player. And if it was going to be one, I would probably pick Lamptey out of the Brighton defenders. I think Cucurella at Man City could be valuable, but I think currently in Brighton, we'll probably not see as much attacking returns as we would like from 5 million. He's not going to be like a Trippier or a Digne, where they're going to be constantly involved on set pieces as well. He's just going to be from open play. And if that's the case, you just go for Lamptey, maybe a bit more risky, or you just go for Dunk at just a 0.5 million less, because beginning of the season, 100 million isn't that much, although with the defenders we can fit in our teams are looking pretty stacked with the value that they've come in at. So I think I might just pass on that. One thing to mention, though, for Sanchez, who's not on the graphic as well, he's going to be probably a pretty popular goalkeeper. Him and Raya are the two 4.5 million standouts, alongside probably Dean Henderson from Forest, who's went on loan from Man United. I probably lump them in the same conversation because it's going to be them versus like the 5 million plus goalkeepers, depending on what your draft is looking like. And I think Sanchez is definitely a good option. Always has and always probably will be, assuming he keeps his good distribution and his good shot stopping. I mean, he's playing for Spain over the likes of David De Gea, so he must be somewhat good with his feet, because you have to be if you're going to play in goal for the Spanish national team. So I would say he's a very good option as well, and probably the best out of all the defensive options available for Brighton. Now let's check out Brighton's transfer activity for this summer's transfer window. Now, it seems like Brighton want to strengthen in the attacking areas because RB Salzburg's Kamara is on their shopping list. Around a £22.9 million, potentially somewhere in that region. A mid-priced, kind of attacking asset, as it were. Could see him basically evolve the front three of Brighton if they choose to play like a 3-4-3. You can have Trossard one side, Kamara on the other, and if Undav comes in, who is another in as he's just finished his loan spell, they could form a very potent front three and allow for Brighton to score a more consistent number of goals on a regular basis. That is basically what Brighton need to shore up in this transfer market, as well as replace the players that potentially could leave as well. Another player that has also been mentioned because of the fact that Cucurella might be going to Manchester City is Tagliafico. Now, this is just kind of a very light rumor, but just someone who could play left wing back, who is very, very good at delivering the ball, always pushing forward. Cucurella did the same thing, so he would fit probably seamlessly right in. He would probably come in at a much cheaper price, probably somewhere around like the 10, 15, 20 million euro mark, which is like 10, 15 million pounds. So we'll have to see how that one transpires. And I think that will probably only be kind of pushed if Cucurella were to go to Manchester City. And he's probably being reported at around 45. I almost said 4.5 million. That'd be way too cheap. 45 million pounds to Manchester City. 5 million as an FPL asset. If he's starting game in, game out, he could be absolute gold for Man City if he cuts inside and like kind of is basically playing how Cancelo plays when he plays at left back and playing more of like a central midfield role, because we know Cucurella on the ball is very good as well, so he could be very, very good. Yves Bissouma as well has gone to Spurs. He's been finalizing his deal and is now on their preseason tour trip in Korea. So he's not really one to be of an FPL asset, but it could mean that Brighton defensively are much weaker, because Bissouma did a lot of the kind of dirty work, the breaking up of the play, the interceptions, the pressing, the work rates, the sprinting around. He is basically the engine of Brighton's team. You know, unless they get a good replacement for him. At the time of recording, I don't think they've brought in anyone of any significance that would be on his level, as it were, that we know of as of yet. So that might be a hole that they need to fill. And he's going to Spurs, who already had one of the top tacklers in the league with Højbjerg. I think they're 1 and 2 actually from last season in like successful tackles. So that's going to be interesting to see how that helps out Spurs. But for Brighton, it would definitely be a big miss. And for only £25 million, I believe he only had 1 year left on his deal. And that is a good piece of business for Spurs. And probably a good deal for Brighton, I would say, assuming they get the right replacement. And then lastly, Østegård. I believe he is a center back, if I'm correct. He is also left the club, but again, I've not seen him play for Brighton, so I don't think it's too much of a big deal. But I think Brighton definitely need to strengthen. Either if Undav is going to be the central striker, or they go from like a false 9 system and Kamara could potentially play off one of the flanks, and they bring in somebody to play alongside him and Trossard. If they were to seal Kamara's signature, then we'll have to wait and see how that one unfolds, because I think Brighton are very flexible, and Potter would probably like to have something like that in his back pocket if he needs it in certain games. So let me know what you think down in the comments below. Do you think Brighton's transfer business thus far is good? Do you think they should sell Cucurella to Man City? Let me know what you think down in the comments below. Welcome to the Fantasy Football Scout members area, the one place that you need to be tuned into for the upcoming FPL season. It has a wide variety of resources and tools that will help improve your FPL game today. It has a bunch of different members-only articles written by some of the best FPL managers across the globe, heat maps for all the players and positions, as well as player comparison tools, which will help you see side by side who is going to be more effective for your FPL team, fully customizable stats tables powered by Opta stats, and much, much more. Use the link down in the description below so that you can get access to the Fantasy Football Scout members area today. It'll help improve your FPL game. This video has been sponsored by Manscaped, the best in male below-the-waist grooming. Make sure to check out manscaped.com so you can see the latest and greatest updates to their lawnmower, as well as their performance package, and much, much more for all their gadgets and gizmos to help keep your family jewels looking as shiny as ever. Make sure to use the code FLAME20 so that you can get 20% off your next Manscaped order, as well as free worldwide shipping. Go check out manscaped.com today. And that is going to do it for this Team Watch episode for Brighton. If you haven't done so already, make sure to hit that like button, subscribe to the channel if you are new or haven't done so already. Greatly helps out the channel, as well as turn those notification bells on so you can get the content as soon as it is readily available. Drop us a follow over on Twitter so you can keep up to date with any and all FPL news, as well as give us a follow over on Twitch so you can see when we go live for our preview and deadline streams, which will be starting back up, as mentioned at the beginning of the video, for game week 1. We'll have a preview stream on the Monday or the Tuesday, and we'll have the deadline stream on the Friday. So make sure to have your teams hopefully ready by then, because we don't want any last minute madness with the site freezes. As it is, it's already laggy enough, I think, with the new design and whatnot. And lastly, make sure to check out Fantasy Football Scouts members area. There's a link down in the description below that'll take you straight there. It's going to help elevate your FPL game. Thank you all for watching, and until the next one, take care.